Good afternoon. Good to see you all here. I think we're going to get ready or get going while you're eating. You know, there's plenty more if anybody wants more. So we want to get going and respect your time. And I know some people have to be out of here soon. So we want to respect their wishes and get going. First off, I want to thank Mike Callahan and the staff here at the Recreation Department for putting this all together. I like the tablecloths and the fancy plates. You really did a nice job. Fixed the building up, it's nice. And I thank Red Holy Cross and the Certus gang over there. You guys do a good job for us. And I want to start off by introducing our members of council that are here with us. Ward 1, Sandy Spinks. Ward 2, Steve Salvi. Ward 3, Vic Zuhardy. Ward 4, Frank Smith. Ward 5, Jeff Asbury. And Ward 6, Tony Longino. Guess he couldn't make it today. That's okay. And we have some guests with us today. We have Mark Jacobson from the J Auto Group. We have Del Judd and Jennifer Holland from the Rotary Club. And Frank Ambrose. Oh, here he is. Welcome. And also we have a big group from our schools. Dr. Johnson and all your team men. We have school board members. Raise your hand. There you are. Thank you. Mr. Lee Carter and Miss Sharon. I always call her Miss Sharon because that's what she got on her food truck, Miss Sharon, which is really good stuff. And the rest of the administration here, Tina and Jamie and Tad and Sam and Kenya and I don't know the name of your security chief. Thanks for being here. We have our good friends from Lakeshore Electric, Corey, and we'll hear more about them in a little bit. We have where's our judge? Michelle Paris. Thank you for being here. And Judge Papa. Nick Papa. I think he's the newest member of that group over there. Doing a great job. And we have Tom Day, our clerk of courts. And John Montello, our law director. Jennifer Holland again, our finance director. We've got our building commissioner, Mike Greer. Yeah. We got 3 or 4 mics around. I get them all mixed up. We got our police chief, Marty Stemple. Lieutenant Mike Stask. Our fire chief, Dave Nagy. Our service director, Clint Beller. Economic Development, Jen Kuzma. And Debbie Perina, who helped organize this from city manager's assistant. And we have our good friend from next door, Mayor Annette Blackwell. Thank you. It's always good to see you here. And, you know, we have such a great relations with our neighbors, with Maple and Bedford Heights and all of them, but it's so good to see you here. Appreciate it. And along with our council clerk, who keeps all the council in line, Tracy Simons. Joe Chuney, our city engineer. Tony Ramos from NOPEC. He helps keep the lights on and all that. Oh, that's great. So, who did I miss? I think I announced just about everybody in the building. But I want to especially thank our friends and neighbors that have come out and our good citizens. We have a nice group from the seniors are here, from our senior club. And probably the most important person to me is my wife, Marilyn. Who we just celebrated 55 years together. That makes me old. But it's a good thing. We're the cliche, we're high school sweethearts and all that. We go back a ways, thank God. I got everybody. I want to start off by just giving a shout out to our safety forces and our service department for the great job they did after the tornado a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And I've heard also from a lot of our residents how appreciative they were of the work all our guys and ladies did in the department, and the cleanup job went really well. And I want to give a special shout out to Mayor Phil Stevens from Bedford Heights. The day after the tornado, he and his service director, Nick Walco, were driving through town, and he called me on the phone, and he just said, "We're sending you help. Where do you want it?" He didn't ask if we wanted it. He said, "Speaking of Phil, come on in." Phil Stevens, Bedford Heights. You must have been waiting there until I did that. But again, thank you for the help during the tornado. It was terrific. It's amazing how fast they got things cleared up. The service department, they just kind of scooped everything up and dumped it and worried about chipping it all later. It was great, and with these guys helping. And also a thanks to CEI for getting out and for putting their emergency response in order. Because we have trucks in town, I have no idea where these people come from. I've never seen any of the names on these trucks. They're from all over. And some of them had just got done in the Carolinas after the tornado, hurricane down there. So they came up. Well, I give a shout out to the CEI because they did a good job. You know, one of the best things I saw from the tragic incident in the storm was the fact that there was neighbors helping neighbors. People were out dragging tree limbs, helping rake up, helping cover roofs, all kind of things. The neighbors just come out. It didn't matter who they were, and that was just great to see community come together. Because that's what it's all about, helping each other and doing the right things. And it was just a good thing. And people checking on their neighbors to make sure they were okay. I've heard from a number of our residents when I was traveling around, all the help they got from neighbors and the help they got from the safety forces, service department did a tremendous job. And the great thing is, during that whole tornado, we did not have one medical incident. No one got hurt, which is, the rest of the stuff we can fix. we can plant more trees, we fix the roofs, put on new siding, but nobody got hurt during that whole time, which is pretty remarkable. Also, I want to just call out our great employees. All the city employees, would you just please stand, no matter what department you're in, just everybody, all of you. I just want to say thanks to them for all the work they do day in, day out. They're not out front. A lot of people don't even see who you are, or what you do. But they work hard. We have very dedicated, loyal employees that help take care of the city and step in when needed. Over the years, we've had some personnel changes with retirements, and I want to thank Mike and Debbie for organizing City Hall and promoting people to where they needed to be, and getting other people cross-trained so they could step into somebody else's job if they left for extended time or if there was an opening. So we had a nice, smooth transition, and we hired some new people that are around and just fit right in. We had, I'll call them our senior staff that have been with us for a while to help the new people get into their jobs and do a good job day in, day out, like I said, for all the citizens here. And now I give, and I'm doing this a lot, many thanks. And I'm going to say it over and over and over again, because I can't thank everybody, our residents, our businesses, the schools, for all we do together, because us as your representatives up here through this, and our city employees, we can't do it alone. We need your guys' help. And you guys always support us, and we really, really appreciate all that. And then there's many thanks. Again, I'm going to use that word thanks a lot, because I just need to thank everybody, because it's important that all of you know that we appreciate what you're doing. And we have the Automobile Dealers Association have helped us tremendously, and the millions of dollars that they've invested and will be investing in the city for their commitment to stay here. Fantastic, because together the Auto Mile, I don't know, that's something like 1,700 employees. That's huge. That's huge. And Mark and your colleagues step up if we need a hand. They bought us some dogs for the police department, and cameras to put up around town. Just all good stuff. And Lakeshore Electric, I want to thank you guys for staying in town and believing us and moving to a new big facility that I know you wanted to get in yesterday, but before the end of the year you'll be in there. That's got to be tremendous. I know I've been in where you're at now, and that's, wow, it's crowded. So thank you for investing with us. And Cleveland Tank and Supply, who's building right next door to these guys on Egbert Road, across from the golf course. You see those two big buildings going up? That's these guys, Cleveland Tank. Thank Cleveland Tank for believing in us and moving their business out here. They were excited to come to Bedford. Trying to think all the people. You know, and it's not just the big employers. We appreciate the little guys too. The 5-man business, or the 20-person business. It all adds up. You get enough of 50-person businesses, and it adds up to equal to one big one. And some of the people have been here for a long, long time. Some of them are new to the area, like Amplified Dispensary, D.R. Ford Collections down on Broadway. Just opened their doors recently, so we appreciate the new business coming in too. And you all count for us, and we appreciate each and every one of you. See, I get something printed up. Mike's going to have the pretty slides up here to show them. And again, our thanks to our school district and working together with the 4 communities. And we're going to see some big changes there. And starting next year, it's physically we'll be seeing things happening on the Chanel property and all the other places, the new school buildings that'll be going up. It'll be a great place for our students and good for our community. And again, thank you for that. And I want to thank our administration, Mike, Jennifer, our finance, for going after the grants. Now we brought in 2023 approximately $2,187,988 in grants. $2 million. That's money we didn't have to take out of our general fund. Thank you. And Jennifer, the 3 of them with their grants getting money. We'll go after a $500 grant or a $5 million grant. It doesn't matter. We're going after it. And we do a great job of getting them because that's all money we don't have to take out of the till, so we can expand services, buy new fire truck, new police cars, service department vehicles, fix some roads. It's all stuff we can do that we don't have to touch our general fund money, which is a good thing. And then, as you know, we got Turney Road construction going. Our engineer, Joe, said they should be done in about 3 weeks. Around that, so that's pretty good. I was hoping before the snow came, but 3 weeks is good. And the state is doing Northfield Road Bridge, a little bit of an inconvenience, but that's nothing major, and they're doing a nice job fixing that bridge up before any of them chain link fences fell off the top or something. So fortunately, that's all getting done. And then we renamed the playground on Palmetto Extension the Paula Mezak Park in honor of Paula, our former councilwoman who passed way too soon. And we changed the name of Interstate Park. We dedicated it to Bill Cosgrove. He's the owner and CEO of American Home Mortgage, Bedford boy, made good, friend of Vic's. Vic helped get this going. And he's a big supporter of Bedford. And anytime you see him, if he's on a talk show or whatever, he always mentions he's from Bedford. I think that's pretty cool. And 2024 is turning out to be a good, strong year for the city. And I look forward to being part of the team as we move into 2025. I think things are going to be really, really moving. The new schools, the new buildings will be in operation. It's terrific. And I want to shut up and turn things over to Mike. I kind of gave you the fluff. He's going to give you a little more detail on some of these items. But it's been a good year for the city, more good than bad, which was positive. So with that, Mike.
Appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone coming out this afternoon. I'll be quick and to the point. I will get into some of the items you'll see in this presentation a little bit more specifically, some of them I will just pass by, but feel free to view this. It will be posted on the city's website, and you can look into some of the more details per department, the specifics that our staff have been accomplishing. And I do want to mention, I won't introduce everyone again, but I want to make a point to thank all of our team. And we reference the team all the time. It's not our team, it's your team. Specifically, all of our department heads and all of their assistants. I know at times, sometimes I can be a challenge, but we all have the same goal. And there's no doubt that every day these individuals, it's not about what's best for them, but what's best for their career or their department. They're always looking at it as what's best for the city of Bedford. When you have a team that has that focus, you're going to continuously do good things. You know, you have your stumbles, you have your challenging days, but as long as the positive days, as I mentioned, outnumbers the bad, you're doing a good thing. And taking a step back, and as I was talking to City Council at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, you look at each department, and you know, this is the 11th State of the City that the mayor and I are presenting, and there is no doubt, if you go department by department, we have progressed significantly for the better. And that is something testament to the staff and City Council as well. You know, as we get into our safety forces, there's a couple common threads here. And our fire department is led by Chief Nagy and the Assistant Chief Dan Dobsloff. Two common or similarities between both fire and police. We are both seeing an increase, significant increase in calls for service. Those calls for service are not going down. You know, that is the first and foremost. You can see in the fire department we had over 3,300 responses. 80% of that is our advanced EMS, and that number continues to increase. I think what is something that is a benefit to this community and these businesses in town and all of us, it is the specialized training that our men and women in the fire department have. You know, they're involved with regional tech teams, regional rescue teams, tactical EMS, hazmat. Those individuals are employed by the city of Bedford. And unfortunately, when you have those incidents, you can see in the photo here on the right, this was just from last week. We had an incident at our wastewater plant with a fellow employee. And our staff and their specialized training were able to assist that individual. So having that training and those expertise is a huge benefit. And it's in the unfortunate times that you're glad that you have individuals like that. And kudos to Dave and Dan for their leadership in the department. You know, the second similarity between fire and police is succession. We are working through that. Matter of fact, both Chief Nagy and Assistant Chief Dan Dobsloff will be retiring after the first of the year, as well as, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but Chief Sneppel will also be retiring in less than 2 months. And I won't tell you what I said to them privately for everybody retiring at the same time. That'll just be between us, but huge loss for the city. I appreciate both of your guys' leaderships of the department and your friendship over the years. With that being said, we have tremendous staff that are going to be moving up. And you see the number in the fire department, 33% of our staff are eligible to retire. It's a big number. But we're moving forward. And before I get into some more, I want to point out, I know Jennifer Holland and Frank Ambosi and Del Judd. I don't know if there's any other members of the Civil Service Commission present today, but we appreciate your efforts. There's been a lot of work that you men and women have put in over the last, I think, 18 months as far as hirings that we've had. It's critical to our checks and balances and the way our government's formed and operates, and we appreciate your efforts. There's a lot of vetting, there's a lot of testing, there's evaluating, all of that, and it's critical. And I think that really shows in the quality of police and fire staff that we have here in Bedford. So I appreciate members of the Civil Service Commission. Just a couple things you can see here. The department was awarded some significant funding. We're going to be working to replace our ladder truck, which is over 20-some years old, as well as our exhaust system in our municipal complex. We just received a federal grant to replace that, and that was 26 years old. So a lot of grant funding, as the mayor mentioned. You'll see that is also a common thread in this presentation, but it helps. It definitely helps. As I mentioned, moving on to our police department, Chief Stemple and Deputy Chief Sutz. Deputy Chief Sutz is actually also retiring. He will be leaving in the latter part of 2025. So we definitely have leadership changes. I will say, and I'll embarrass him a little bit, but I want to point out Lieutenant Stass. Lieutenant Stass was selected to succeed Chief Stemple as the new Bedford Police Chief. Congratulations. And the lieutenant will be officially sworn in October, a couple months. Our staffing numbers, we have really been moving, as I mentioned, the last 18 months. Just in police alone, we have hired 9 individuals. And the challenge is in 2023 and 2024, we've had an unprecedented amount of retirements. I mean, it's just, and they need to fill those positions. They need to work with Civil Service Commission, but also it's a tremendous strain on resources when you get those individuals selected and the training. It's been a lot. With that being said, we have 2 remaining. Once we fill those 2 remaining vacancies, we will be up to full staff. And I do want to point out one thing though. We are not down in our numbers now. What we've changed about 8 years ago, instead of waiting till individuals leave or starting it a month before they leave or 2 months before they leave, you always end up below, because by the time that person is on the road by themselves with the training, that's months. We are actively filling positions in anticipation of our staff leaving 6 to 8 months down the road. So there will not be a drop in our staffing, and that'll go the same, our same plan with fire too. Our goal has always been not to go below our full strength. And if that means that we have a little bit extra, that's a plus. But that's where we're at. We hope to have those 2 other positions filled over the next few months, and then we will be in a good position as we get into 2025. Some of the big things with our police department, we did receive a grant through Homeland Security, a significant grant to change over our radio system. That is upwards of $250,000. Those are both portable, and we'll be working to acquire radios for the cruisers as well. It's a huge and necessary upgrade for the department. And also, I want to thank our friends with the Bedford City Schools. We partnered with the schools to start a drone program. And the school district was able to secure federal funding to purchase a drone for the department. And we are now working through the necessary training. You wonder, and I give this happened, Chief Nagy would maybe recall about 3 years ago. Unfortunately, we had an individual that was missing in the creek down by Viaduct. And there was a decision that was made out of the safety of the personnel not to enter the water because it was that dangerous. One of our neighbors actually had a drone, and we used that drone to fly the creek, check the creek bed. And ultimately, the individual wasn't the outcome we had hoped for, but he was located that much sooner. We will now have that technology, and that's another word that I'm going to repeat, but we will now have that technology which will enhance protecting lives, protecting property, when there's other means or resources that we can't use. So I want to thank the Bedford City School District for that. It'll be a huge benefit to not only Bedford, but our neighbors as well, if we would need to utilize that. And obviously our staff are working to do the necessary training and whatnot, and certifications to the FAA. Last year, moving on, I highlighted just some reporting data. I like to go back like a nerd sometimes and look at stuff from 2010 and even beyond that. But I pulled some of the data out, and you can share it. the positive trend is a lot of these are decreasing, some significantly decreasing. You know, on your average crimes, you know, your burglaries, you can see the drop off that has had. It's probably hard to read, but where it was at its peak on the far left, that was 2010. That is far end, obviously, conclusion of 2023, that number being less than 10. The same goes for, you know, robberies. You know, yes, in 2010 there were 7, 8. You know, that's 7 or 8 too many. But if you look at last year, I think we concluded with 3 of them. Same with assaults. You know, there wasn't a spike there, but that has definitely shown a decrease. Motor vehicle accidents. You know, we talk about trying to crack down on the speeding and the hazardous driving. This has been a trend since 2020. The last 4 years, it has significantly dropped. In 2020, we were approximately 325 accidents across throughout the year. We are now below 250. That's almost 100 less per year. This is another one, and I want to credit, I believe there was a task force that was formed. This was a data piece that I talked about last year with the stolen vehicles, and you can see how that was trending in the wrong direction. This was something that was occurring throughout Cuyahoga County. In 2022, when I talked about it last year, it had spiked. There were over 100 and some stolen vehicles that we had reported. Obviously, you had the issues with Kia and whatnot. You could see the significant drop-off, and that is a credit to obviously Bedford PD, but all the neighboring PDs, Maple Heights PD, and I believe there was some task force that got involved that really were able to apprehend a couple of stolen vehicle rings, and you could see the results of that and how that significantly dropped. That's actually at a rate lower than what was reported in 2015. So obviously it's too many, but it's going in the right direction. That's not to say that there isn't challenges. You know, those are some of the positives. I like to point out this piece because I think it's something that everybody needs to understand and acknowledge. We talk about over the years that any community that tells you they don't have fentanyl or they don't have heroin, they're absolutely lying to you, right to your face. You know, our SEAL narcotic unit, and I don't want to say ours, you know, we're part of a larger task force or group of communities, you know, Maple Heights, Garfield Heights, Bedford Heights, Solon. There's a number of them that we work together. And you could see in 2023 that task force, and I do want to point out one thing, these numbers, especially when we get into the drugs, these are not numbers that were affiliated or brought, or I should say confiscated from Bedford. Some of it is. The majority of it is investigations that had started locally, on the local level, and that stemmed from maybe some large raids in the city of Cleveland. And these are what these numbers are. And you can see in 2023, as far as confiscated assets, the SEAL narcotic unit brought in or obtained over $1 million. I believe that's a record, the most that we've ever had. I think what's most concerning, and everybody should acknowledge this, I think throughout, actually honestly throughout the country, is that next the stat, you know, 4,400 and some grams of heroin, that's 4.4 kilos. That is a 280% increase from 2022. 1 year. 1 year increase. You know, that unit, you know, dealing with, that is 50% of their caseload. So it's significant. They're jamming, they're doing a tremendous job. And they're working very closely. And like I said, I point this out just for a larger picture. It's not necessarily Bedford. Was some of this confiscated in Bedford? Sure, you know, obviously not 4,000 grams, but it tells a bigger story. And I think we need to acknowledge it, and we need to continue to support law enforcement in their efforts to tackle some of these challenges. You see 2024 initiatives, you know, moving on to that. Some of the big things is expanding on our city-owned surveillance. I briefly was talking with Mayor Blackwell before we started about the benefit, and we talked about this years ago, the flock camera system. You know, we've installed flock cameras at every entrance of Bedford. We also have our own security cameras that the Bedford Auto Miles help fund along Broadway and Rockside. There's also security cameras going through the historic district, all to use technology. We talk about technology. We can't have officers in every spot and every location. You know, a flock camera system, for those of you that may not be aware, those are license plate reading cameras at the location. We don't sit there and monitor everybody coming and going. The way those work is if there's a stolen vehicle and that vehicle is entered into the flock system, if a vehicle is stolen out of Cleveland Heights and that vehicle enters Bedford, we're made aware and we can respond accordingly. I will tell you, and you may be aware of 2 incidents that we had in the city, 2 officer-involved shootings that we had. Both of those stemmed from vehicles entering Bedford that were stolen. One of them most recently was stolen out of Michigan. It entered Bedford and our officers pursued that vehicle. And thankfully, both officers in those instances were uninjured. I also want to thank Chief in Maple Heights and your staff who also assisted in apprehending the individuals who were armed. They were not from either, they were from neither community. But that shows the benefit of the flag cameras. We will pursue if that's entered. When you have all of that, you use technology, you can address it. And it's another reason, like I said, I won't go on further into the debate of pursuing and not pursuing. What I will say is, Bedford, we will pursue you and we will pursue you safely. And if you're coming here to commit a crime or if you've committed a crime and are entering town, we will pursue you. I'll leave one comment that was given to us on multiple occasions, and it's really eye-opening, is we've had officers stop people in a pursuit that had fled, and multiple times our officers, that individual, when he was ultimately apprehended, I can't believe you guys pursued us. X doesn't pursue, Y doesn't pursue, this city doesn't pursue. You know, there's a comment that, oh, criminals are dumb. They're not that dumb. When there's no limited consequences, they're going to continue to do so. So our intent is, you know, we are strong on it, on dealing with the crime. We're going to use technology to best deal with crime, and I think these are resources that, and I want to thank council that have been well accepted in the community. And thank you for supporting that initiative of the flag cameras. The other item, just before we move on from police, we've had some ward meetings. We always hear about quality of life issues, the speeding, the running stop signs. We've heard that. We've looked at what other communities have done as far as some traffic calming measures, one of those being the installation of speed tables. And once again, thanking City Council, they supported an initiative and we purchased these a few months back. We will be installing them later this summer. And what we did is we picked specific locations. These aren't just random streets. Our PD looks at data that we have from cameras, from our speed sensors, and we say, you know what, there is a speeding issue on this street. Some there's not. These are the ones that we're going to start with. And we hope that obviously it'll have a positive impact, and if it does, we'll continue to look at expanding on that. Moving on to our service department, Clint Beller, our director, and Sean Francis, our assistant, who's not here. You know, I can't say enough about these individuals, and Tracy Praska, who's here as well. Thank you. You know, this is one department that's probably still doing the same, if not more, with less. You know, 15, 20 years ago, they were close to 45 employees. But they're still getting the job done, and I appreciate that. I won't go through the long list of items that we addressed. The one thing I want to point out, though, it is more than just the service department. You know, these individuals manage our water department. We manage a Bedford cemetery. We manage a wastewater treatment plant. Those are major operations. That is a public utility that we manage. And just jumping down to the bottom, you know, our utilities, we are an older community. You know, there's water lines that we've worked to replace that are almost 100 years old. You know, our water system is operating at a 25-year low as far as water loss. So what that means is, as a master meter community, we run our own utility. We purchase water from the city of Cleveland. We monitor that. There's master meters, and then obviously we supply it and bill that out. We can specifically see when there's a water break, when there's a leak. We can see the drop in our water loss. These gentlemen have put together a plan over the last 7 to 10 years, and we regularly, twice a year, sound our system. We address breaks before those breaks can be bigger breaks, and as a result, we are collecting 96% of the water being billed out. That is a better percentage than from the mid-90s. And that's astonishing. I mean, that really is impressive. And you can see what our, the enterprise funds for those two utilities, the reserve that was in place at the beginning of this year was about $13 million. So, Clint, kudos to yourself as well as the water department. Well done. You can see some of the things that we've done as far as grant work. We've received $150,000 in upgrades to our Bedford Commons. And we'll get into that expansion a little bit later. But these upgrades were needed prior to that. We upgraded all the electrical down there. We've upgraded the restrooms. We put new roofing on the train depot as well as the gazebo. All of that has been covered through a grant. Turney Road resurfacing, as the mayor mentioned, we received a $250,000 grant from Cuyahoga County. We've also received another grant through the county for tree planting. Over the years, sorry, I'm talking too much. I got to get a little bit of water. Over the years, we've had to take down a lot of trees from the ash disease. And it was one of the areas that were cut, and we stopped planting new trees in the locations. Through the county grant, we've been able to do so. We planted about 140 trees a couple years ago. And then now we just received another grant where we will be planting 50 this fall, another 50 in the spring, and I think that adds to the character of the neighborhoods too, and it's important. And we talk about infrastructure. Some of these items, the Northfield Road Bridge, I can tell you that Clint was on them for years. I think the one time he had sent them 90-some photos, just driving them crazy because we knew it needed to get addressed. And it's finally doing so. It's a significant improvement that should be finished at the end of this year. And then we'll be moving on to the Northfield Road Bridge. The state of Ohio is going to, the Union Street Bridge. The state of Ohio is going to be doing that project in 2025. We're going to continue with the walks, sidewalk program. And one of the big items is our NFA study. For those of you that are not aware, we were required under our permit at the wastewater plant to conduct a no feasible alternative study based on improvements. And we did that. It was very comprehensive. That was submitted in May of this year. And then we will be working to negotiate with the Ohio EPA on necessary improvements to the plant. There's no doubt that it's going to have a potential impact on sewer rates. But what the city did, and I want to thank Joe Chuni, our engineer, who is very much involved in this process, we also put together a financial capability analysis, which isn't necessarily required, but we felt it was important to show the EPA, the age of our community, the population of our community, that you can't just take rates and raise them 200%. So we finished that. That was also submitted a few weeks ago. And we're anxious to sit down with them and discuss the future of the plan. The items that the staff do internally in-house is significant as well. And so well done to the staff. And we talk about in-house and Parks and Recreation. Mike Callahan is unable to be here today. Bob Plisky, the assistant. I also want to point out the entire staff. You can see some of the facts, the amount of parks, the acreage that this department maintains. There's 6 full-time employees here. And I think to see what they've done over the last 8 years it's tremendous. I mean, I started down here, and there's nothing that makes me more proud to see where the department is now than where it was 20 years ago. I mean, it is the things that they're doing for children, the things that they're doing for seniors, for middle class. There's always something going on. And you see the improvements to this building, the restrooms, all of that. That's been done in-house. We're doing what we do with the limited amount of staff is very, very impressive. You can see some of these programs. This last one just took place about a month ago, actually, earlier in August. And I just want to point out, and as the mayor mentioned, Bill Cosgrove from Union Home Mortgage, been a big contributor to the city over the years. He wanted to make an opportunity for children to get involved with baseball and the Guardians camp. And for the Guardians to put on a camp, it's $450 per child to attend the camp. Kind of unrealistic. Bill made sure that 55 kids attended that camp for $10, I think. It was $10 or $20 he charged them. He picked up the rest. And it was tremendous. They were here all week long. The Guardians and Mr. Cosgrove committed we're going to do this every year. So we will be doing it again next year. And it's to get the children, it's to get the youth involved in baseball and involved in just activities again. I think that's important. And you see a photo here. I will admit I was there. That was they had guests, and Carlos Baerga was one of the people that was there and spent time with all the kids. Admittingly, I don't know if any of them kids knew who Carlos Baerga was, but the parents were so excited. The adults were so excited. They were running home and getting the bat for him to sign. So it was fun. It did make me feel kind of old, but yeah, some of the kids didn't know who he was. But very, very, kudos, as the mayor mentioned, to Vic Fluharty, our councilman, helped make that happen, working directly with Bill Cosgrove and connecting Mike and Bob with representatives from the Guardians. I think it was very impressive. The other thing that just showed the impact of what was done and Mr. Cosgrove, what he did, we had the dedication. You didn't even, number of people were there. You're standing around and you look to your side, standing in the back, wanted no fanfare whatsoever, was Mr. Dolan, owner of the Indians. And he says, I wouldn't miss anything for this event and for what Bill does for the community and for us. So I think that says a lot. And that's a Bedford graduate. Gentleman was born here, went to Bedford City Schools, and is doing great things and never forgot where he came from. That's what impresses me. Talking about some of the highlighting things here, you see these numbers, the grants we received for our senior programming. That number there, the 515 current members of the club with our seniors, that was just over 100 right before the pandemic. You could see the expansion and what these individuals down at the rec department and parks department are doing, and it's bringing more people, and there's more to do, and more activities, and there's meals, and all that's going on is very, very impressive. We were given, out of that $160,000 grant, we got to work to spend it, we're spending it, but to show how this group down here thinks, they came to me and says, we think we can get creative and find a way where we can help even more people. And we were able to earmark around $20,000 and dedicate that to Meals on Wheels for the Bedford community. And that's a tremendous benefit. And kudos to the staff that are thinking outside the box to help that organization. In our youth sports, one of the things that's really important about that is we have co-branded that to Bearcat Sports. And we're working very closely with the athletic department at the high school. And I think it's important to, as we grow our youth sports and those programs, it helps, it's like a farm system for the middle school and the high school, and it helps their programs as well. So it's again, very important. We appreciate that partnership, and hopefully those numbers continue to increase. Our municipal pool, this was the first full year that we were open since before the pandemic. Staff or residents went from attending this facility to the new facility, which opened late last year. A tremendous upgrade. Kudos to the staff for managing that project. This year was, as I mentioned, was our first full year. We brought back the swim team. We brought back a number of different learn to swim programs. It has been very, very well received. And I'm going to embarrass him a little bit. Mr. Plisky, Bob, our assistant director, we stole him from Brecksville. He comes here with a wide array of knowledge for aquatics. Has just done a tremendous job at the pool. Ways that we can be more efficient, ways that we can save money, ways to make sure that we have ample amount of guards. Knock on wood, over the last 2.5 years, we're recruiting guards in February and March to make sure we don't run into those hiccups where we don't have enough. It's just a tremendous job. And my office, and Debbie can attest to this, is to go a whole summer, not one complaint, not one concern over the pool, the facilities, the operations. That says a lot. So Bob, well done. Mike, well done as well. You can see some of the other topics here that we're working to expand. Obviously our camp and bringing the children in. We have a very experienced staff, quality staff, activities, providing opportunities for them, positive experiences and programming is very, very important. But we've expanded those camps to include winter break camps. Now we have a spring break camp. So there's a lot of great things going on. We've received a grant for the Cuyahoga County Department of Developmental Disabilities. And we are now hosting programming and events with area partners for those with developmental disabilities. And that's also, we've expanded who we're working for on such a wide range, and it's tremendous. It's great job. One of the things that we're looking at, and we were just recently notified that we received a 50-50 grant to start working to replace some of our community parks. And while you want to just stick a shovel in the ground tomorrow, we know there's a lot more work that goes into that. There's 3 parks that we're really focusing on, those being our skate park, which is down at our pool, Greencroft Park and Taft Park. Greencroft and Taft specifically need new playground equipment. So we are looking at which ones we can begin in 2024 and which one we will plan to replace in 2025. A lot of it, honestly, is going to come down to what we have in our current budget, because we will not go over that, and which of the parks is going to require more earthwork, more work to outside of just replacing the equipment. And once we kind of have a feel for that, we will go to council. But kudos to Mike and the staff for securing that funding, and we think it'll be funding that we will be able to secure each year moving forward. And I think these are 3 parks that we definitely need to freshen them up. There was a quote here that I actually found, the little progress each day adds up. And I remember talking about that 8 years ago in the state of the city when this building was gutted because we were removing asbestos and we had very little going on. And we talk about, trust us, this is the plan, this is what we're going to get to. And I think it's evident that a little bit every day, you guys have done a great job, and kudos. Our building department, just moving on, Mike Greer. Mike is, this is very a strategic initiative that we worked out with the city of Brooklyn. We split his time between us and the city. There's 2 big things here, and that'll prove that there is no drop-off. We are actually more efficient today than we were 5-10 years ago. You know, in 2022, the department brought in $7.9 million in residential and commercial permitting, construction dollars. You look at where we were when we finished 2023, $13.5 million. There's a lot going on throughout the community. The other piece here is, you know, bringing on a part-time inspector, looking at the staff, and Mike, it's himself and two other individuals. We performed about 1,000 more inspections in 2023 than we did in 2022. And that shows that we understand if there's concerns over a resident's property or exterior maintenance, we're addressing those. So kudos to you. I know you guys are jamming over there. We've also worked to strengthen our partnership, as I talk often about, the Cuyahoga County Land Bank. The Land Bank has helped us take down blighted homes, albeit there haven't been many, but when there are, they have stepped up. They've covered the cost of that. And you can see at 65 Talbot, this is a property that the city took ownership of. We tore the abandoned home down, and later this year, the Cuyahoga County Land Bank is going to be constructing a new home on that lot. We are also expecting to receive a proposal for 3 additional homes at 3 parcels located on Center Road, where the city recently took down blighted homes as well. So there's an investment, and I think that's very, very important, that it's coming back and it's not a vacant parcel. Plus, we do not want to be in the grass business, that's for sure. I just want to touch on, too, the sexennial reappraisal report and that impact. For those of you not familiar, I'm sure you are, you received that information. Bedford had an average increase of 38%. It's significant. I do want to point out, though, we've talked about this at council meetings, as well as other forums. It's a little different if you want to dispute your evaluation than it is just during a normal process where you would have to get an attorney and you'd have to get a formal appraisal. What the county is offering is they have an informal valuation complaint portal. That can be found on their website. If you go in there, it'll guide you through the process of what you need to do. But there is an opportunity where you can challenge that. But we did see a significant increase in the community's property values. You know, our finance department, we'll get into some of the financing. Our director, Jennifer Holland, our assistant, Allison Chance, doing a great job. You can see, you know, we've held on to our bond rating. We are A1 and AA. That was confirmed, AA minus. That was confirmed last year. And we finished 2023 with $3.8 million in cash balances. We still have our reserve balances of $5.8 million, which is solid. You know, we are expecting to see an impact of the university hospital's reduction. So that will probably dip into the cash balances, but we're working through that. I will say that Jen and her staff have done a great job as far as some big adjustments that we've made. We've had an increase with the rates at where they are. I believe we brought in an additional $300,000 in interest last year in comparison to the year before, so that helps. And also the switching over to RETA. So I know that was kind of we don't want to do that. We don't want to go to RETA. It's not going to save us any money. Well, actually, it has. Not getting into specific businesses, we can't do that. But what I can say is, in 2022, the city brought in about $13.7 million in income tax. We are on pace to slightly exceed that in 2024. Well, you'll say, well, you're about the same. Well, the difference is, in 2022, we had full collections from university hospitals. In 2024, that amount is significantly reduced. So we are seeing an increase in our collections. We are seeing an increase in some businesses. We're seeing new businesses. We're seeing business expansion, which also helps. But the move to RETA was a positive move. I think it was a move that, you know, Jen and her staff, we transitioned well, and we're more efficient. You know, we don't necessarily just, when someone retires or somebody moves on, we don't just fill the seat. If there's a better way to do it, or a more efficient way, you know, I'm not one, and I think we all agree, we're not of the mindset of just hire more big government. That's really not how Bedford operates. You know, we are lean. We are a lean staff, but we are not, there's not a drop-off. So I just wanted to point that out, Jen. Well done. 33-year consecutive certificate of achievement for the reporting. Outstanding. We're proven to be good stewards of the public's money. And Frank, thank you for laying the groundwork for that as well. I gotta give you some of that credit too. I think you were around for some of that 33 years. So, well done to our finance department. You can see some of the things Jen is very actively and her staff and Allison and working to identify our major capital improvement projects. We are actually working now to plan for 26 and 27 on issuing debt and going out for bonds for substantial improvements citywide. And we're kind of trying to prioritize that now. So it's exciting. There's some exciting things going on. You know, Jennifer Kuzma, obviously, in our economic development department. Jen is also the executive director of the First Suburbs. Can't say enough about her contributions to the city, not only with what she does as far as attracting businesses or grants, but it's her connections that she has countywide and statewide. It's been beneficial, and it's beneficial for our businesses as well. You know, I went back and I started looking at, you lose sight of things year after year after year. But when you go back and you look at, okay, how long, when this company came here in 15, this one 16, this one 17. When you add all of those up, over the last 8 years, we brought in over 800 and some new jobs to Bedford. Those new jobs bring in about 1.5 million annually in income tax. So those jobs are not the 2,000 employee manufacturing company that we had 15 years ago. We got mid-sized businesses here. We talk about Lakeshore, we talk about the Auto Mile. Our tax base is much more diversified today than where we were 10, 15 years ago. We have a number of businesses, you know, for instance, one, Molding Dynamics, moved here, I think it was 8 years ago. 15, 20 employees, they're now approaching 80. You know, we have a number of companies like that, and that is really product of council's support with our incentive packages, Jen's work as well as the finance department. And you can see some of these construction dollars. We talk about, you know, Lakeshore Electric and their investment in Tinker's Creek. As Mayor Kochi mentioned, the building's massive. I know you guys are eager to get in there. It's exciting. We appreciate that commitment. Cleveland Tank and Supply, they're in there now. Again, very, very exciting. And we'll be meeting with Art of Beauty as well, who acquired 5 acres, and they have their construction, or they have their plans for an expansion of their facility as well. So a park that sat dormant and vacant for almost 20 years is moving forward, and hopefully will be at capacity very, very soon. You know, looking ahead, we're looking to strengthen some partnerships with Hikma Pharma. Just to touch on very briefly, that news came out earlier this year that Hikma acquired Xelia Pharmaceuticals. Xelia had sold that facility, all the assets and all of the patents to Hikma. Hikma is actually in Bedford now. They moved here when the old Benvenue left. They came here with only about 15, 20 employees, and they were strictly research and development. They are north of 80 employees, they're expanding, and they've now acquired this entire facility. In our conversation that we had with their leadership, they anticipate the closure to take place in the fall. It is not closed yet, but their exact quote to us was, they expect substantial manufacturing to be taking place at the Bedford site. So there's a huge difference with what happened 15 or 12 years ago to just closure to this is an acquisition. And we expect them to ramp up that production again. One of the things that I just want to talk about as well, I wish I could get into some more specifics, but the University Hospital. 2 years ago, we talked about this during the State of the City. We had just filed a lawsuit and had University Hospital in court. We had stated then that we were probably in the second inning of a 9-inning game. Today, I can tell you that we're probably in the top of the ninth. We are very, very close to having a resolution. I think it'll be a positive resolution for the community, and we are eager. Mayor and I have spent every Monday for the last however many weeks with the judge and in court, but I think we're moving forward to where we need to move forward, and we're anxious for what opportunities would arise, and we'll share those as soon as we can. You know, we talk about our grants that we're going after, our police cruisers, our commons upgrades, community center improvements. One grant that is actually ongoing now, and just give Jen a plug and our plug to our historic district. You know, it's been under construction down there for quite a bit over the last couple months, or a couple years. And this is the first time that it's been open without construction. And we released a grant for storefront improvements to all the businesses in the historic district. And those, we're starting to get the application come in, new signage, new windows, tuck pointing, painting. We expect to see between $75,000 and $100,000 of improvements in the district, which is encouraging. And I have 2 final items. They're heavy lift items, but we finished our Transportation for Livable Communities initiative, and this was a NOACA grant, and it was a study to connect our historic district with other assets. You know, we submitted that plan to NOACA, and it was accepted earlier this year. The importance of that is we are now eligible to go after construction dollars, implementation dollars. You can't apply to NOACA until you finish the planning phase. So this grant for the construction dollars will open in October. We intend to apply for it, apply for significant work, connecting our downtown to Viaduct Park, the metro parks. We're looking to add walkways down Taylor, which will go from Union Street all the way up to Viaduct Park. There's currently no sidewalks there. So individuals that would want to get to the park would have to walk in the roadway. We're looking at improvements to our crosswalk area, as someone would like to refer no, I won't say that to them. Crosswalk of death, as some people say, which it's not, I would. But we are looking to make some safety improvements there as well, and enhance security. So we're eager for that grant to open. And lastly, just to provide a timeline, this is, and I want to point out individuals, Jennifer, Clint, Sean, Mike, and Bob. This is a heavy lift, and it's our commons expansion. A lot goes into that when you're dealing with a project of this size, as far as the details, the materials, what the color scheme is going to look like. We are about 90% done on our end. Our timeline, what we're looking for is we'll be seeking qualified bids this fall, and we'll be putting shovels in the ground later this year. That is our goal. And the goal is to have this facility open in the summer of 2025. I think it's a transformational project for our historic district, for the community, for families, and it's something we should all be excited about. Just wrapping up, and I might have went over a little bit, I apologize for that. I think as I outlined in each department, as the mayor mentioned, and you look back over the last 10, 11 years, there's no doubt whatsoever each of our departments are stronger, we're more efficient, and we're doing great things. And there's hurdles, we'll get over those hurdles, we always have. We've had a stable administration and council, and we appreciate, myself appreciate City Council's support on some of the ideas and initiatives we bring forward. You're always well received, even if it ends up not happening, right? I always say, you know where I'm coming from, I know where you're coming from, and over time, that's how you establish trust. And even if you disagree sometimes, it's okay to disagree. So I appreciate everyone's time today, and enjoy the rest of the evening and stay out of the heat. Thank you.